Thank you again for joining us for Mindfulness Monday. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. A few quick reminders. Everyone will be muted during today's session, but please feel free to use the chat button to submit your questions. If you have any comments, feel free to do that at any time. As you can see, if you feel comfortable, please feel free to turn on your camera. We like to see folks on camera here if you feel comfortable to do so. Right. Again, welcome to Mindfulness Mondays. Make sure that you join us for our other PD Health at Home programs. We have Wellness Wednesdays, Fitness Fridays, expert briefings, and our Spanish language series, Y Salud en Casa. Our Wellness Wednesday coming up this week is Coffee and Conversations, and we have our expert talking about taboo topics. So symptoms and Parkinson's topics that might be a little bit more uncomfortable to talk about freely. So if you're interested in that topic or any other of our PD Health at Home programs, you can learn more and register at parkinson.org/pdhealth. PD Health at Home is presented by the Light of Day Foundation, whose generosity has made this programming possible. And without further ado, I'm very excited to welcome our presenter for today, Dr. Danielle Carns. Dr. Carns, thank you so much for joining us again today and for leading us through today's session.
Thank you for that introduction. I'm always happy to be joining. So I want to welcome everyone to today's Mindful Monday, like Danielle had already done. Before I introduce the theme for today's practice, I would like everyone to just take a minute to pause and reflect on what brought you here today. What was the motivation behind taking this time to make this space for yourself? While you consider this, I'll encourage you to gather any props that might make this practice more comfortable. I'll pause for a minute so you can take the time you need to gather what belongings you might like to have. For those of you just joining, we're just gathering some props or items that we need to increase our level of comfort for the practice today. We'll be starting in one moment. As we begin to settle into our space, I invite you to shift in your seat and slowly begin to melt into a final or momentary resting position. Begin to notice your breath. Notice the pace of each breath, moving in and out. With the next few breaths, try to slow down that pace by breathing in slowly for 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhaling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The goal of this is to simply slow your breath and increase relaxation. If the prior counts are not comfortable at this time, simply inhale, hold, and exhale slowly at your own pace. Continue breathing and settling into your space. Today's theme is using mindfulness to improve our attention and clarity. Often, patients with Parkinson's disease can experience cognitive concerns such as reduced attention, slowed thinking, and difficulty with problem solving, planning, and even organization. When these problems arise, there can be increased frustration and even avoidance of things. That could mean avoiding treatments that are challenging, social gatherings due to difficulty effectively communicating, or even with simply making plans. In moments of increased frustration, sadness, or angst, I encourage you to pause and then meditate. For the remainder of this practice, I welcome closing of your eyes, making this space as comforting and relaxing as possible. Take a deep breath in and sigh out. If there is no stillness, there is no silence. There is no silence. There is no insight. If there is no insight, there is no clarity. Begin to find stillness in your space. This may be seated, lying flat, or reclined. Continue breathing in and out slowly. If you notice involuntary movements, breathe into them and breathe out any negative thoughts that may arise. Be as still as you are able, remembering this looks differently for everyone in this practice today. With each exchange of breath, feel the weight of your body pushing onto the surface where you reside. For the next 2 minutes, we will sit in stillness with the sole purpose of taking up space. If your mind drifts or brings negative thoughts or emotions into awareness, simply acknowledge them and recite the following phrases silently. I am solely here to sit in stillness to the degree that I can. My purpose is to take up space. Begin to focus your awareness to your breathing, knowing that if unwanted thoughts come in, you can silently remind yourself of the purpose of this practice. Acknowledge the unwanted thoughts' presence, and then redirect your attention to your breath. Allow your body to get heavier with each inhalation moving forward, and invite a version of stillness into your practice. Stillness encompasses a state of being, existing free physical, motion, sound, or mental shifts. You do not need to embrace all at once. Simply embrace what comes naturally. Make this your version of stillness, your version of inner peace. If this becomes challenging, welcome a feeling of compassion and loving kindness into your practice, reminding yourself that stillness may look different for you today compared to other days. Then slowly redirect your attention back to your breath, a reminder of the control you wield by breathing in slowly, pausing, and slowly exhaling at the pace of your choosing. Continue working through this over the next 2 minutes. By harnessing our power to pause in stillness, we invite insight and clarity into challenging times. We reduce the impact of emotional turbulence and allow reason and wisdom to guide us and improve our focus. Continue to deepen your breath. I would now like for you to take a moment to acknowledge distractions in your environment. Acknowledge the things which you cannot control in your current space. With each distraction, breathe into it. Acknowledge each one, and then bring your awareness back to your breath, embodying each inhalation, noticing the power you have in holding, and then exhaling any stale air from your body. For the next few moments, I will invite each of you to practice sitting in silence. Our dynamic world and all the things we cannot control can become sources of distress. but taking pauses, redirecting our attention toward our power, our grounding breath, lets those negative emotions and thoughts fall away. Continue working through any distractions over the next several minutes, practicing sitting in silence, using your breath as an anchor. We will now begin to mindfully welcome insightful thinking by embracing radical allowance and harnessing a sense of non-judgmental awareness. Over the next few moments, think of a negative emotion or thought, perhaps a challenge you experienced during this session today or over the last few weeks. Visualize this experience. Notice it. And then deepen your breath, slowly inhaling the air around you and then slowly exhaling. Take this at your pace while silently repeating, I welcome this experience. Continue reciting this for 3 more slow rounds of breath. The idea of welcoming an experience does not mean you believe the experience is comforting or positive. It just means you welcome it for what it is. Welcoming something challenging allows us to reduce resistance that can lead to suffering. It enables us to acknowledge certain challenges without them becoming all-consuming. It allows us to have clarity. Continue to breathe, slowly inhaling and slowly removing any air from your body. As you breathe, remember that to receive mental clarity, we must pause to embrace silence, which then welcomes stillness. We need to embrace stillness to welcome insight. And we must embrace insight to welcome clarity of thinking. The path that we have traveled for today's practice is one that can lead to better focus and attention and greater ease with managing certain symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Redirecting your attention and practicing acceptance can redefine how you think through challenges and can ultimately redefine how you live. Over the next minute, slowly begin to bring your awareness back into your space. Perhaps you slowly begin to acknowledge sounds and sights in your environment. Perhaps you welcome small movements in your seat, or perhaps you let out a large sigh. Take whatever you need in this moment, and then slowly begin to open your eyes. I want to extend an immense amount of gratitude to each and every participant today. Carving time out for self-care can be challenging, and learning new skills can be frustrating. But you all showed up for yourselves today, and that is no small feat. So I'm going to take a moment to pause and just see how everyone's feeling after that exercise. How's everyone feeling? Tired? Very relaxed. Okay, Martina, you feel very relaxed. Scott or Steve Scott from the UK, very relaxed as well. Sleeping, good. It's a great way to be present. All right, encouraged, Deborah. That's a really great sentiment. Relaxed but hungry, Jessica. Get a snack. Okay. Today was hard. Tremoring. When those things happen, it's really important to, recognize. And I think that was the main tenet of today is recognizing that some days these practices will be much easier than others. And we just have to kind of accept where we're at and work in a non-judgmental way so that we don't get trapped in a negative thought cycle, which can disrupt networks that are really important for attention and aspects of cognition. All right, Vicki is ready for another Mindfulness Monday. Great. Okay. And GH, I saw a learning new approach to recognize negative thoughts, which helps with acceptance. Acceptance is really hard. And I think one of the things that I like to kind of get on a soapbox about when I talk with folks is acceptance does not mean that you agree with or like something. Does not mean that. It just means I'm here right now. This is what is kind of at the table. And accepting allows you to look at that and then problem solve through it as effectively as you can. And that can really, really help with, grounding and, living the life that you want to live. Carl, breath as an anchor is a wonderful metaphor. Yes, it's nice. It's something that we can control. And in a world where there are a ton of things that we cannot control, if we're experiencing involuntary movements, we can't control those. So, it's important to really focus on the things that we actually have the most control over, which is why I focused on the breath work. Dave was asking, how often should we target to do this? So mindfulness and meditative practices, I tell everyone it's like going to the gym. You start small, maybe 5 minutes a day, sometimes, before you go to bed. That's usually the easiest time where you're laying flat, kind of quieting the mind, and then work your way up. But it's like a muscle. You want to do this frequently. So if you can do it daily for 5 minutes, that's great. And it doesn't have to be a practice like this one. It could be mindful eating or sitting on, a patio, just experiencing, what it feels like with the wind on your face and going through, an acknowledgement of what you're experiencing from a sensory perspective, going through the five senses. So any amount of mindfulness, I would say at least daily, is really important. And you'll notice that your brain will begin to retrain itself, which is what we want. We want to be able to instill a sense of calmness and help reduce stress because we know that that can actually negatively impact our movements as well. So it's really important to kind of make it a daily practice. All right. Mindful walking. Exactly, Martina. Mindful walking is great because, if you're up and about, you can make pretty much anything mindful. Brushing your teeth can be mindful, quite literally anything. So make it your own practice and integrate it into your daily routine so it doesn't seem like a job. And then once you build that muscle, extending it to, 5, 10, 15 minutes is really great. All right. Well, it was wonderful seeing you all today. I hope that you move into the rest of your day with a different outlook and a little bit of relaxation. So,
Thank you so much, Dr. Carns. Thank you everyone here for joining us today. For more PD Health at Home programs for our next Mindfulness Monday session that will be on June 1st, feel free to visit our website, parkinson.org/pdhealth, or look up our YouTube channel where you'll find even more Mindfulness Monday sessions for the times where we are not meeting. You don't need to do it every Mondays. You can do it as often as you would like. So just visit our website, parkinson.org/pdhealth. You can also call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO. We have our helpline specialists who can help with any questions you might have about Parkinson's or about mindfulness. So just give them a call or feel free to email them if you have any questions. So thank you guys again for joining us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.